Hi, I'm Larry Falk, Director of Multimedia Services here at Francis Marion University, and I'd like to welcome you to this session of our virtual orientation. Today we are talking about financial assistance, and today we have Felicia Miller with us from the Office of Financial Assistance. Felicia, would you please introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Felicia Miller, and I'm from the Office of Financial Assistance, and I'm a financial assistance counselor.
Excellent. We're glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Of course, we're in the middle of this pandemic, so that's why we are having the virtual orientations. Felicia and I are actually in the same television studio. We are practicing social distancing, so we're on either side of the studio. So if we glance over, we're actually looking at each other. So it's not like we're staring off into space anywhere. But it's a little awkward, but we adapt and change as we need to. So, getting started, the Office of Financial Assistance during these times, are there any changes there? Are the hours different, or how is the office working during this current situation?
So our hours are actually no different than they are during the normal year. We are operating from the hours between 8 and 5 o'clock. So you can come in at any point, you can call, or you can use email to contact a financial assistance counselor.
Okay. So when a student is accepted, or how does the financial assistance process work? We'll go to that. Do they contact you before even applying to the school, or they wait till they're admitted to the school, or how does that even work?
So the first step with doing financial assistance will be the FAFSA, and a student does not have to be accepted to the university to complete that application. The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. So if you're looking to receive any type of financial assistance from the university, that's your first step. You'll complete that application and you'll add Francis Marion as the school to receive that application. Once we do receive that application and you've been admitted, at that point we will begin the process of determining what your eligibility is for financial assistance.
Okay. And is the FAFSA totally online now, or is there still paper copies like back in my day? We did it all by paper.
The application is completely online at this point. There are a very limited number of paper forms. You'd be very hard pressed to find one, but we do encourage all students to use the online application.
Okay. And is it an easy website to find?
It is. It is at FAFSA.gov.
Excellent. FAFSA.gov. That is pretty easy. FAFSA.gov. Yes. So who actually fills it out? Is it the actual student fills it out? Do their parents fill it out? How does that work?
So the application is completed by the student, and the parent would sometimes assist. The parent information may be needed depending on if you are a dependent or an independent student. But the application, it will always be completed by the student.
Okay, and I think we're going to actually talk about dependent and non-dependent a little bit later on. So there's a little teaser. We're going to get to that soon. When they're actually filling out the FAFSA, what information is needed? Is there anything special that's needed?
So when you're completing your FAFSA application, the two things that we encourage students to have handy would be their W-2 forms and tax returns for both the student and the parent. Other than that, if you have any other income or sources of income, you would want to make sure that you have that handy as well when you're completing that application.
So is there a deadline for which the FAFSA needs to be filled out by?
The FAFSA has a deadline of June 30th. We do not hold hard to that deadline. A student can complete their application at any point throughout the academic year if they choose so to receive financial assistance.
All right, so we've already mentioned the website for FAFSA, FAFSA.gov. Is there anywhere else that they can get information on how to fill out the form or just information in general about it?
Other general information would come from studentloans.gov's website, and that would be studentloans.gov.
Okay, great. When they contact financial aid, do they get assigned a specific, are they called counselors, or is that what you're,
Yes.
or is it pretty much anyone can call any of the staff in the financial aid office?
We encourage students to contact any counselor in the office. We always have a counselor available. But yes, each student is assigned a specific counselor based on their last name. So for instance, I have letters. If your last name begins with a P, I have P through Z, so you would be in my alphabet, and I would primarily be handling the processing of your application and any questions. But if you need other assistance or I'm not in the office, you're more than welcome to contact any other counselor in the office.
Okay, great. So in preparing for this, we had a little email conversation, and I asked for topics that we should cover. One of those topics was verification. What exactly is verification?
Verification is when the federal government selects a student for us to verify their application. About 30% of the student population is selected for verification, and when they are selected, we send them an email notification letting them know that they need to submit additional documentation before we offer a financial assistance package.
Okay, and those forms are on the website, yes?
That's correct.
Excellent. Okay. The tax returns, how do they get those to your office?
So we have a new feature that we're super excited about. It's called our document upload. So we'll talk about it a little bit later. But in our required documents section on our checklist, you can upload your taxes. So you can actually use your 1040 form, or you can request a tax return transcript from the IRS, and you can upload those forms to the portal so that we can receive those from you.
Okay, excellent. We talked a little bit earlier, or you mentioned earlier, about dependent and non-dependent. What exactly is the difference there?
So an independent student is a student that can answer yes to one or more of the questions, the dependency questions on the FAFSA. Those questions include, are you 24? Are you married? Do you have a child? Do you have other dependents? Are you a ward of the court? So there's several questions that determine what your dependency status is. And so we typically refer students to the application and let them know that if they can answer yes to one of those questions, and if documentation is needed to back that claim up, then they would be considered an independent student.
Okay, so they don't just get to, choose, willy-nilly. There's actually a process of determining whether they are dependent or independent.
Correct.
Okay, because my next question was going to be, are there pros or cons? But I guess if they can't choose, then there's no reason to have a pro or a con for each one.
Correct.
Yeah.
You may have special circumstances, though. Some students have circumstances that permit them from putting their parent information on the application. So in that case, they're trying to determine whether or not they should be an independent student. We encourage them to contact the office, and we'll assist them with that process of determining what documentation is needed so we can make a student independent. Other than that, no, a student cannot choose to be an independent student.
Okay. All right, so they filled out their forms. They've submitted their forms and the tax documents and everything. So now what? What's the next, I don't want to say next step. What's the next action that happens?
So once you've completed submitting all of your documentation, there will be a checklist on the Patriot portal in the financial aid section, and it kind of walks you through our process. And once you have checked off all of your documents that are needed, it moves to the reviewing process. The counselor will review it, make sure that everything is accurate, and then at that point we will go to offering an award to the student.
Okay, and I saw something on the website about accepting or declining.
So at the point that a financial aid package has been offered, the student would have received an email letting them know their financial aid package is available. The student would then log into the portal, and they'll see an offer that we have set out there for them. That offer may include state scholarships, student loans, work study. So at that point, they'll want to make the determination of what type of aid they want to use for the year. You can choose to accept or decline certain awards. If you do decline awards, you can always accept them later. But at that point, that's when you want to look at your bill, look at what the Financial Assistance Office has offered you, and determine what aid you want to use for the year.
So why would a student decline financial assistance? You think if you're getting money, you think you would want that. What would be the reasoning behind declining?
Most students decline student loans. A lot of students do not want to use student loans or their parents encourage them. We as the university encourage students not to use student loans if they don't need those loans. So that would be one reason why a person would decline a certain type of aid. Other than that, state scholarships, grant money, those are free funding, and you definitely would not want to decline those funds.
Right. Yes. If it doesn't charge interest, accept it. I guess
There you
that's
go.
the protocol. Yeah. And of course, all the emails that they receive go to their official fmarion.edu address. Correct.
That is correct.
Right. Not just a Gmail account or anything like that. Like a regular Gmail account, because the F. Marion account kind of goes through Gmail, but their official student account.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So now they've applied. They've submitted everything. They see their financial aid package that has been offered to them. What are some of the different types of aid that they could receive? We've already talked about loans, so let's go, I guess, a little more in depth about loans.
So student loans are real loans that have to be paid back. You have two types of loans. You have subsidized and unsubsidized. Subsidized has no interest accruing until 6 months after the student graduates. So I like to use an example of, if I give you $5 today, 4 years from now, plus 6 months, you owe me $5. Unsubsidized has interest accruing immediately on that loan. So if I give you $5 today, 4 years from now plus 6 months, that 6-month period is your grace period. That's the period that you don't have to pay back any funds. You'd owe me $8.16. So that loan has interest accruing on it while you're in school.
Okay. So if you had the choice between subsidized or unsubsidized, you would definitely go for the subsidized.
Correct.
Subsidized loan.
Correct.
Thanks.
And if a student accidentally declines their subsidized and takes their unsub, let's say their unsub is a higher offer than their subsidized, and they choose to go with the unsub, we typically will catch that error and fix that for you. So yes, you do always want to go with your subsidized over your unsubsidized student loans.
Excellent. Anything else about loans? Do they have to, I know there used to be, you would have to go through, I don't want to say a training session, but like an education little session about loans.
Correct.
Does that still occur?
Yes. So there's something called entrance counseling, and each new student has to complete entrance counseling. It's a quiz that kind of walks you through and makes sure that you're understanding that you are taking a loan, that this loan does have a fixed interest rate, and that the loan has to be repaid. There are really no wrong answers when completing that. We do get a lot of students who call us and say, I'm not sure if I'm answering this correctly. It's just asking you to read the verbiage and answer the questions. If you mess up, you can always start over again.
Okay. Anything else you want to cover on loans before we move on?
No, that's it.
No? Okay. So the next thing on my list are grants, state and federal.
Okay, so the first grant that most students receive is the Pell Grant. That's based on your FAFSA application. And your FAFSA application is looking at your finances, your parent as well as your finances, if you had any income earned in the prior year. So if you're eligible, we will automatically offer that to you. There's nothing that you need to do to receive Pell Grant other than complete the FAFSA application. The next one would be federal SEOG grant. That is a limited funded grant. It is a first come, first served grant. So we ask that you complete your FAFSA application as soon as possible so that we can determine whether or not you're eligible for it. You typically have to have a 0 EFC. And an EFC is your estimated family contribution. It's a number that you receive once you finish your FAFSA application. So if you fall into the category of being eligible for federal SEOG, the only thing you need to do is complete your FAFSA application, and we will offer you that if we have the funds at the time that we're awarding. The next grant, which is a state grant, will be the South Carolina Need-Based Grant. And that's very similar. We do want you to complete your FAFSA. That is how we determine whether or not a student is eligible, even though it is a state grant. The FAFSA application lets us know that you're looking to receive any type of funding that may be available to you. So once again, there's nothing else you need to do other than complete your FAFSA to be eligible for the South Carolina Need-Based Grant, as well as being a South Carolina resident.
Okay. I know that there's a federal work-study program. In the Media Center, we employ some students who are on the work-study program. Can you explain what that is?
Work study is a part of your financial assistance package. If you have financial need, we will offer you federal work study, and you can use that work study to find employment on campus. Career Development handles all of the job postings, so you can check out their Facebook page, and they will kind of assist you if you need help with looking at jobs. You can also kind of poke around on campus to see if you can find anyone that's offering. There are always jobs on campus, but that's where that federal work study comes in. It will be used to help pay your wages.
Okay, just to be clear, it's only for on-campus jobs.
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay. So, yeah, if anybody watching this is interested in broadcasting, we do live stream almost all of our sporting events, and if you would like to run a camera or anything like that, come by the Media Center and talk to us, and we'll try to get you on one of our crews. So, putting a little pitch out there for a little bit self-serving, but hey, this is a great place to do it, right? Okay, so now that my personal pitch is over, the next item on my list is state scholarships. So let's talk about those.
So at Francis Marion, we participate in 4 state scholarships. The first one will be Palmetto Fellows. Palmetto Fellows is our most prestigious state scholarship and has an award of about $6,700 for the year. Because there are 2 deadlines throughout the year, you have an early deadline and a late deadline. The guidance counselor is responsible for notifying you if you are a recipient of this scholarship.
Okay. So guidance counselors, should that be kind of the first person or the first thing? Well, I don't want to say they're not a thing. The first step in this whole financial assistance process, or should they just go ahead and fill out the FAFSA first?
We have a lot of students that just jump right in and go straight to the FAFSA application. We have some students who are a little bit more apprehensive and would like to do workshops. And then you have a few that will contact their guidance counselor to kind of assist them through the process. But either is fine.
Okay. But for those who are not in high school, they can just go ahead and call your office.
That's correct.
Excellent. Yeah. So the next scholarship on our list here is the Life Scholarship.
The Life Scholarship has an award amount of $5,000 for the year, and you have to meet 2 out of the 3 criteria. So the first would be that you have to have a 3.0 GPA on the uniform grading scale, so there is no rounding. The other would be that you have to have an 1100 on the SAT or a 24 on the ACT, or you have to rank in the top 30% of your graduating class to be a recipient. So you only have to have 2 out of the 3 to receive this scholarship.
Okay. Moving on to the Hope Scholarship.
So the Hope Scholarship has a very basic criteria. You only have to have a 3.0, and it has an award amount of $2,800 for the year.
Okay, so the final state scholarship here on our list is the Enhancement Scholarship.
The Enhancement Scholarship is for our 2nd, 3rd, and 4th year students. So if you are a Palmetto Fellows or a Life recipient and you have 14 hours of approved math, science, or computer science, you may qualify for the Enhancement Scholarship. If you do, the award amount would be $2,500 on top of your Palmetto Fellows Award or Life Award.
Okay. The first 3, the Palmetto Fellows, the Life, and the Hope, do they follow the student through their college career?
They do. As long as a student continues throughout their academic career to have a 3.0 and earn 30 hours each academic year, they will be eligible to receive the Palmetto Fellows or the Life Scholarship. Hope Scholarship is a one-time deal, so you can only receive that your freshman year. So we typically like to tell students that we hope you get to Life.
Oh, that's catchy. I like that. But it only follows them through their undergrad career,
Correct.
not into like a master's or PhD.
Correct. It does not move on to your graduate.
Okay. And moving on, how about university scholarships?
Our university scholarships are offered through the Office of Admissions, and they have certain criteria based on when you complete your application. So for more information, we encourage you to contact the Office of Admissions.
Okay. How about private scholarships? So those not that you don't necessarily go through the university to get.
Yes, we get this question a lot. For private scholarships or scholarships that we consider outside of the university, we want to encourage you to never pay anyone to do a search for scholarships for you. You can always do a free search yourself using Yahoo, Google, whatever search engine you have available to you to look for scholarships. So we do always want to remind you, never pay anyone to search for scholarships because it's something very quick and easy that you can do yourself actually. If you're a recipient, they will walk you through the process of completing paperwork that will be turned into our cashier's department so they know where the funds should be sent for your education.
Would it be a general good rule of thumb that if they're asking for money at all, that you should be wary?
That is correct, throughout this entire process. So from the point that you're looking at completing your FAFSA application all the way to scholarships, never, ever, ever pay anyone or any website to complete these applications because they're all free applications.
Okay. Are there any federal scholarships?
No,
No?
there are no
Okay.
federal scholarships.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Students who are watching this are probably past this point. Hopefully, if they're watching this, they've already filled out their FAFSA and everything. But for those who may come across this video and are just starting the process, is there a specific number that goes in, or do they just look up Francis Marion when they're doing the online FAFSA?
We do have a school code when you're completing the FAFSA. That school code can be easily found on the FAFSA's application. If not, it is 009226.
009226. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Is there anything else that you would like to cover?
Our office is always available to you. Sometimes we even respond to emails at night. So if you have any questions, we do encourage you to contact us. We'll be more than happy to assist you with this process.
Okay, and what's that phone number?
Our phone number is 843-661-1190.
And email?
Finassist, that is FINASST @fmarion.edu.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Felicia, for joining us today.
Thank you.
And we hope to see you on campus in the fall.
Yes.
We'll see you later.